My child, come closer and listen with a calm heart, because what I am about to reveal may feel heavy, yet it is wrapped in protection, truth, and divine purpose. You have been sensing something lately, a strange pressure in your chest, a restlessness in your spirit, moments where your mind drifts without reason. You may not have understood why, but your soul knew. Something important has been unfolding quietly behind closed doors, away from your awareness, and now the time has come for you to be prepared to receive the truth. There is a case that has been moving silently through shadows and light, through lies and evidence, through fear and courage. It is not an ordinary case, my child. It carries weight, power, and consequences. Many eyes were watching it, many voices were whispering about it, and many truths were hidden beneath layers of deception. While the world saw only fragments, one soul chose to see the whole picture. That soul is your soulmate. Your soulmate did not step into this lightly. They carried responsibility on their shoulders that you could not see. While you went about your days smiling, worrying, hopping, your soulmate was walking through pressure, scrutiny, and moral conflict. They were standing at the edge of truth and consequence, knowing that once the truth came out, nothing would remain the same. And still, they did not turn away. My child, understand this clearly. Your soulmate was chosen for this task not by chance but by alignment. They have a heart that cannot ignore injustice, a mind that seeks clarity, and a soul that values truth over comfort. Even when the path became painful, even when emotions tried to interfere, they stayed focused. They followed the evidence, the signs, and the truth, even when it began to point closer to home than either of you expected. You may be wondering why I did not warn you earlier, why I allowed you to remain unaware while something so serious unfolded in the background. Hear me gently now. Not every truth is meant to be revealed before the heart is ready. Some knowledge, if given too early, would only bring fear instead of understanding. I protected your peace while preparing your strength. I guarded your heart while aligning the timing. Your soulmate faced many nights of silence, my child. Nights where they questioned themselves, where they wondered if they were strong enough to continue, where they feared the impact this truth would have on you. They wrestled with loyalty and justice, emotion and duty. They asked me for guidance, for clarity, for strength to do what was right even if it would hurt. And I answered them, not by removing the pain, but by giving them courage. There were moments when your soulmate wanted to stop, moments when they wished the trail would end, when they hoped the truth would lead elsewhere. But truth does not bend to wishes. Truth reveals itself layer by layer, and once seen, it cannot be unseen. Your soulmate understood this, and so they continued, step by step, evidence by evidence, choosing integrity over denial. My child, you may have noticed changes in them. A distant look, a heaviness in their voice, a seriousness that was not there before. Perhaps you felt them pulling away emotionally at times, not because they stopped caring, but because they were carrying something they could not share. This distance was not rejection, it was protection. They were trying to shield you from the storm before it arrived. I want you to know something important now. Your soulmate did not betray you by staying silent. They honored you. They respected the weight of the truth and the impact it would have on your heart. They waited for the right moment, the moment when truth could emerge without destroying you. Silence, in this case, was not deception. It was restraint guided by love. As the case unfolded, it became clear that it was bigger than anyone expected. Influential names, trusted faces, familiar circles, all were touched by it. And slowly, painfully, the truth began pointing towards someone very close to you, someone you trusted, someone you never imagined could be connected to something so dark, so hidden, so wrong. Your soulmate felt their heart sink when this realization emerged. They knew that once the truth came out, your world would shake. They knew the emotional weight you would carry. They knew the questions you would ask yourself, the memories you would replay, the trust you would begin to doubt. And still, they did not bury the truth, because burying truth only allows darkness to grow. Hear me now, my child. Truth is not cruel even when it hurts. Truth is cleansing. It removes what was poisoning your life silently. What is being revealed was never meant to walk with you into your future. I am separating you from hidden harm, even if the separation feels painful at first. The case reached a point where evidence could no longer be ignored. The walls closed in. Lies collapsed under their own weight, and the moment of detention became inevitable. When that moment arrived, your soulmate stood firm, not with pride, not with coldness, but with a heavy heart and a clear conscience. They did what was right, even when it felt unbearable. My child, I know you are not yet hearing the name, and that is intentional. Your heart is still being prepared. This part of the journey is about grounding you, reminding you that you are not alone, that this revelation is guided, and that you are protected. The shock will come, yes, but it will not destroy you. I will not allow it. Right now, I want you to breathe. Feel your feet where they stand. Feel your breath move in and out. You are safe. You are guided. You are held. Nothing that is about to be revealed will take away your destiny, your love, or your future. What will be taken away is illusion. Your soulmate is not your enemy in this story. They are your shield. They stood between you and deeper harm. They chose truth so that your life could be cleansed, even if it meant standing in discomfort, judgment, and pain. This is not just a case they solved. It is a protection they carried out. As this part ends, know this. The truth is closer than you think. The name will surface. The shock will be real, but so will the healing, so will the clarity, so will the deeper bond between you and the one who chose truth over fear for your sake. Remain still, my child. Do not jump ahead in your thoughts. Do not imagine the worst. Allow me to guide you step by step. What is coming will change things, but it will also free you. This is only the beginning. Now that your heart has been gently prepared, now that you understand that something serious has been unfolding beyond your sight, it is time to go deeper into what your soulmate has been carrying within them. This part is not about shock yet. It is about understanding. It is about compassion. It is about seeing the invisible weight that love sometimes has to carry in silence. Your soulmate did not wake up one day and suddenly become part of this case. This responsibility slowly wrapped itself around them, tightening day by day as pieces of truth began to connect. At first, even they hoped it was nothing serious, nothing that would demand sacrifice. But truth has a voice, my child, and once it starts speaking, it does not stop until it is fully heard. Every step your soulmate took deeper into this case pulled them further away from comfort and closer to consequence. They knew from early on that solving this case would not bring applause or peace. It would bring disruption. It would expose lies. It would hurt people. And the most painful realization came when they understood that the truth was walking dangerously close to your life. There were moments when your soulmate paused, my child. Moments when they stared at evidence longer than necessary, hoping it would change. Moments when they questioned whether they were misreading signs, whether their heart was interfering with logic. They asked themselves again and again, what if I am wrong? Not because the facts were unclear, but because the emotional cost was terrifying. You must understand this. Your soulmate is human. They feel deeply. They love deeply. And when the truth began pointing towards someone connected to you, their first instinct was not duty. It was protection. Protection of your heart, protection of your peace, protection of the life you were living without suspicion or fear. They tried to create distance between themselves and the truth, not by ignoring it, but by hoping it would resolve on its own. They prayed for another explanation, another name, another outcome. And in those moments, I was with them. I listened to their questions. I felt their fear, but I also guided them back to clarity, because delaying truth only allows darkness to grow stronger. There were nights when your soulmate could not sleep, nights when their mind replayed conversations with you, memories of laughter, trust, and warmth. While the evidence sat heavy in their thoughts, they knew that once the truth came out, your world would shift, and the idea of being the one connected to that shift tore at their heart. They asked me, why does it have to be me? They asked me, why does this have to involve someone so close to the one I love? And my answer was not gentle comfort. My answer was purpose. I told them that not every soul is strong enough to stand between truth and emotion. Not every heart is capable of choosing integrity when love is involved. And not every person would be willing to walk through fire to protect someone they care about. They were chosen because they could endure it. My child, your soulmate delayed nothing out of fear. They delayed only to be certain, to be absolutely sure that what they were uncovering was real, undeniable, and complete. They knew that accusing, exposing, or moving forward without full clarity would destroy lives unjustly. So they waited. They verified. They dug deeper, and with every step the truth became heavier. You may have felt this weight indirectly, a tension in conversations, a seriousness that replaced ease, a feeling that something was being held back. This was not emotional distance, it was emotional restraint. Your soulmate was containing a storm so it would not reach you before the ground was ready. At times they felt isolated. They could not confide in you. They could not fully express their fear. And the loneliness of that silence pressed hard on them. Yet even then, they did not waver. Love does not always speak loudly. Sometimes it stands quietly and absorbs pain so another does not have to. As the case grew, outside pressure increased. Authorities demanded results. Eyes watched every move. Mistakes were not allowed. And still your soulmate carried an additional burden that no one else knew, the knowledge that the truth, once revealed, would wound you deeply. They questioned whether love would survive this. They questioned whether you would ever look at them the same way. They questioned whether doing the right thing would cost them the connection they cherished most. These questions did not make them weak. They made them honest. Hear this clearly, my child. Your soulmate never chose the case over you. They chose truth for you. They chose to remove a hidden danger from your life, even if it meant being misunderstood, blamed, or emotionally distanced in the process. There were moments when they wanted to warn you, to hint, to prepare you, but I held them back, not to be cruel but to protect you from partial truth. Partial truth confuses more than it heals. I knew the right moment would come, and until then silence was mercy. As evidence stacked higher, denial became impossible. The truth was no longer something that could be delayed without consequence. And when your soulmate realized this, something inside them shifted. Fear gave way to resolve. Doubt gave way to strength. They accepted that their role was not to soften the truth, but to deliver it responsibly. This acceptance did not come with peace. It came with grief. Grief for the version of life that would end. Grief for the innocence that would be lost. Grief for the pain you would feel. But grief does not cancel purpose. It deepens it. My child, understand that while you were living your life, your soulmate was fighting an internal war between love and justice, between protection and honesty. And in the end, they chose the path that would truly protect you, not just emotionally but spiritually. Because what was hidden near you was not harmless. It was influencing your life in ways you did not see. It was draining your energy, shaping your choices, and standing in the way of your future. Removing it required courage, sacrifice, and unwavering truth. This part ends not with the arrest yet, but with a heavy stillness, the stillness before everything changes. Your soulmate knows what is coming. The truth is ready to surface. And soon, you will understand why all of this had to happen exactly this way. Do not fear what is coming, my child. What is being removed was never meant to walk with you into your future. And the one who stood firm in truth did so because they love you deeply. The storm is close now, but so is clarity. Now the moment draws closer when silence can no longer protect, and hidden things begin to surface. This part carries a heavier breath because it speaks of the turning point, the place where truth steps out of the shadows and demands to be seen, even if it breaks hearts along the way. Your soulmate reached a stage in the case where every line connected perfectly. No loose ends. No unanswered questions. What once felt like a distant possibility had now become a confirmed reality. The truth was clear, solid, and undeniable. And the most painful part was not the crime itself, but the face attached to it. The familiarity, the history, the emotional closeness that made it so hard to accept. They sat alone with the final report in their hands, my child, feeling the weight of destiny pressing down on their chest. Their breathing slowed, not because they were calm, but because their soul was bracing itself. They knew that once they took the next step, there would be no turning back. Lives would change, bonds would shatter, and your world would never look the same again. In that moment, they whispered your name, not out loud, but inside their heart. They imagined your reaction, the disbelief, the confusion, the hurt. And above all, the question you would ask without words. Why did not I see this? That question alone made their eyes burn with tears they refused to let fall. They wanted to protect you from that pain. They wanted to stand between you and the truth, even if it meant carrying the burden alone. But I reminded them of something important, something you must also hear now. Protecting someone does not mean hiding the truth forever. Sometimes protection means allowing truth to arrive before more damage is done. The person who was about to be detained had been walking too close to your life, influencing you in subtle ways. Conversations that drained you, advice that confused you, emotional pressure that never felt quite right. You sensed something was off, my child, but you could not name it. Your spirit felt heavy, but your mind kept justifying it. This is how deception works. It hides behind familiarity. Your soulmate saw what you could not because they were smarter, but because they were positioned differently. They were standing outside the emotional circle, able to see patterns, behaviors, and motives that you were too close to question. And once they saw it clearly, they could not unsee it. As the arrest order was prepared, your soulmate's hands trembled, not with fear of the system, but with fear of your pain. They wondered if you would hate them for their role. They wondered if you would think they betrayed you by allowing someone connected to you to be taken away. These thoughts haunted them deeply. They asked me one last time, "Is there any other way?" And I answered with truth, not comfort. If this remains hidden, it will destroy more than you can imagine. My child, what was uncovered was not a small mistake or misunderstanding. It was something that had been growing quietly, feeding on secrecy and proximity. The longer it stayed near you, the more harm it would have caused, not just externally, but within your spirit, your joy, your sense of safety, your future. The moment the detention happened, the air shifted. You may not have known why, but you felt it, a sudden heaviness, a strange stillness, a feeling like something important had been removed, yet the space it left behind felt painful and empty at the same time. This is what happens when truth interrupts illusion. Your soulmate did not celebrate. There was no sense of victory, only a deep, aching silence. They stood there watching the consequences unfold, knowing they had done the right thing, yet feeling the cost of it in every heartbeat. This is the price of integrity. It is lonely, even when it is necessary. They did not reach out to you immediately, not because they did not care, but because they knew you needed space to process. They knew that if they spoke too soon, their words might sound like justification instead of care. They waited, praying you would one day understand their heart, not just their actions. Meanwhile, you began replaying memories in your mind. Moments that once felt normal now felt strange. Words that once sounded caring now felt manipulative. You started connecting dots that had never aligned before, and with every realization your chest tightened, not just with shock but with grief. Grief for trust that was misplaced. Grief for time that cannot be recovered. Grief for a version of reality that never truly existed. I was with you in those moments, my child. When you stared into nothing, questioning your own judgment. When you wondered how someone so close could carry such darkness. I held you when your strength faded and your tears fell without warning. And while you were breaking quietly, your soulmate was breaking too, in a different way. They were grieving the loss of simplicity, the loss of innocence, the loss of a future that would have been easier if truth had not intervened. But ease was never the promise. Growth was. This part of your journey is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to wake you, to sharpen your discernment, to teach you that love without truth is dangerous and truth without love is cruel. But when both walk together, healing begins. Your soulmate still loves you, my child. Their love did not weaken through this storm. It was tested and proven. They did not run. They did not hide. They stood firm, even when standing firm meant being misunderstood. Soon, there will be a conversation. A moment where words finally replace silence. But before that happens, you must allow yourself to feel everything. Anger, sadness, confusion, even doubt. These emotions are not signs of weakness. They are signs that your heart is alive. What was detained was not just a person. It was an influence that had no place in your future. And what remains now is a clearing, even if it hurts. Clearing makes room for truth, for real love, for alignment. This part ends with you standing at the edge of understanding. The shock has not fully settled, but awareness has begun. And as painful as this awakening is, it is also the beginning of freedom. Do not rush your healing, my child. Do not silence your emotions. And do not mistake truth for betrayal. Sometimes, the ones who love us most are the ones who are willing to be strong when everything falls apart. Now we arrive at the part where the noise slowly fades and the heart begins to speak. This is the space after shock, after disbelief, after the first waves of pain have passed. It is a quiet place, but it is not empty. It is filled with truth waiting to be understood. After the detention, after the truth stepped into the open, you found yourself sitting with emotions that did not have clear names. You were not only hurt, you were not only angry, you were not only confused. You were all of these at once and more. Some moments you felt strong, as if clarity had finally arrived. Other moments you felt small, wondering how something so close to you could have been so hidden. You questioned yourself deeply. How did I miss the signs? Was my love blind? Can I trust my own judgment again? My child, hear me gently now. You did not fail. Love does not make you foolish. Trust does not make you weak. You were open because your heart was pure, not because your mind was careless. Darkness survives by hiding near light, and this was never your fault. As you were processing all of this, your soulmate was also walking through their own valley. They did not feel relief. They did not feel pride. They felt the heavy silence of consequences. They replayed every decision, every delay, every moment they chose duty over comfort. And even though they knew they did the right thing, their hearts still ached for you. They longed to reach out, to explain everything at once, to hold your pain and take it away. But love that rushes can wound further. So they waited. They gave you the respect of space, trusting that when the moment was right, truth spoken with humility would find its place. And I was working quietly in both of you. In you, I was softening the sharp edges of shock into understanding. I was reminding you of moments that once felt confusing but now made sense. I was strengthening your discernment, helping you see that your intuition had tried to speak many times, even if you did not yet have the language to hear it. In your soulmate, I was humbling their strength. I was reminding them that being right does not mean being distant, and that courage must eventually be paired with vulnerability. I was preparing their heart not to defend themselves, but to open themselves fully to you. Then came the moment you did not plan for but felt approaching, the conversation. It did not begin dramatically. There were no grand speeches, no perfect words. It began softly, with hesitation, with eyes that carried both fear and honesty. Your soulmate did not sit in authority. They did not sit as a hero. They sat as someone who loved you and was willing to be seen completely. They told you everything, not just the facts of the case, but the nights they could not sleep. The moments they wanted the truth to be different. The prayers they whispered asking me to take the burden away. They told you how afraid they were of losing you, how close they came to breaking under the weight of silence. And as you listened, my child, something unexpected happened. Your pain did not disappear, but it changed. You began to see the difference between harm and protection, between betrayal and responsibility, between someone who hides to deceive and someone who stays silent to shield. This understanding did not erase your hurt, but it gave it context, and context is the beginning of healing. You were honest, too. You told them how small you felt, how shaken your trust had become, not just in others but in yourself. You told them how the detention made you question every memory, every laugh, every shared moment with the person who was taken away. You did not hold back your tears, and you did not need to. Your soulmate did not interrupt. They did not explain away your feelings. They listened, truly listened. Because love that lasts is not proven in control but in presence. This conversation did not fix everything in one moment. Healing is not instant, my child. It unfolds slowly like dawn after a long night, but something important shifted. The wall between you softened. The fear of misunderstanding loosened its grip. You began to realize that what was removed from your life was not just a person, but a pattern. A pattern of subtle manipulation. A pattern of emotional drain. A pattern that kept you doubting your own inner voice. And with that pattern gone, even though the emptiness hurt, there was also relief. Your soulmate began to step closer again, not physically at first, but emotionally. With transparency, with patience, with humility. They did not demand forgiveness. They allowed it to grow naturally at your pace, and I was there guiding each step. I reminded you that trust is not rebuilt by pretending nothing happened. It is rebuilt by walking through what happened together, honestly and gently. I reminded you that your heart is not broken beyond repair. It is wiser now, stronger, more awake. There were still difficult days. Days when a memory would resurface and your chest would tighten. Days when anger would return without warning. This is normal. Healing does not move in straight lines. And on those days, I held you close, whispering peace into the parts of you that felt tired. My child, something sacred was happening beneath the pain. You were learning to choose truth over comfort. You were learning to value clarity over familiarity. You were learning that real love does not avoid hard paths. It walks them with integrity. And your soulmate was learning too. They were learning that strength does not mean carrying everything alone. That love requires letting yourself be vulnerable, even when you fear judgment. That standing for truth is only complete when you also stand for connection. This part of your journey is about rebuilding, not the old life, but a truer one. A life where nothing hidden has power over you. A life where love and honesty walk side by side. What was exposed had to be exposed, my child. Because what you are stepping into next requires a clean foundation. The future I am preparing for you cannot be built on half-truths or quiet compromises. As this part closes, know this. You are not defined by what shocked you, but by how you rise from it. You are not weakened by the truth. You are aligned by it. And the bond between you and your soulmate, tested by fire, is now capable of becoming something deeper if you both continue to walk in honesty. The final part will speak of renewal, of purpose, of how what felt like an ending becomes a beginning you could not have imagined before. Stay open, my beloved child. I am not finished with your story. This final part is not about what was lost, but about what was saved. It is not about the pain that entered your life, but about the future that was protected because truth was allowed to stand. This is where understanding turns into wisdom and wounds begin to transform into strength. After everything that happened, after the conversations, the tears, the silence, and the slow rebuilding, you began to notice a quiet change within yourself. It was subtle at first. You felt lighter in moments where heaviness once lived. You breathed deeper. You questioned yourself less. Something that had been weighing on your spirit for a long time, without you even realizing it, had been lifted. The absence left by what was removed from your life was no longer frightening. It became spacious. And in that space, clarity started to grow. You began to trust your inner voice again. Not because everything suddenly felt perfect, but because you could finally hear yourself clearly. The confusion that once clouded your thoughts was gone. Decisions felt calmer. Your emotions felt more honest. This is what happens when deception leaves. Your spirit recognizes freedom before your mind fully understands it. Your soulmate watched this change in you with quiet gratitude. They did not take credit for it. They did not feel pride. They felt relief. Relief that the choice they made, even though it hurt, truly protected you. Relief that you were healing in your own time, in your own way, and something beautiful happened between you. Your connection did not return to what it was before, because what it was before was built under shadows. Instead, it transformed. It became slower, deeper, more intentional. You spoke with more honesty. You listened with more care. Silence no longer felt dangerous. It felt safe. You began to see your soulmate not just as the one who solved the case, but as the one who stood firm when the truth was inconvenient, as the one who chose integrity even when love was at risk. And this realization changed the way you looked at them. Respect grew alongside affection. Trust grew alongside understanding. Love grew alongside truth. My child, I want you to know this clearly. Not everyone who claims to love you is willing to protect your future. Many will protect your comfort, your habits, your illusions. But the one who loves you in truth will protect your destiny, even if it means being misunderstood for a season. Your soulmate was positioned in your life not only to love you, but to stand as a guardian at a critical moment. This was not coincidence. This was alignment. This was purpose unfolding in a way that was painful but necessary. The case was never just about justice in the world. It was about justice in your life. What was detained was something that would have eventually caused deeper damage. Damage to your confidence. Damage to your spiritual clarity. Damage to the path I have prepared for you. If it had remained hidden, it would have followed you forward, quietly interfering with your blessings. But now that path is clear. You may still grieve at times. Grief does not mean you regret the truth. It simply means you are human. Allow those moments. Do not rush them away. Each tear releases something old. Each sigh makes room for something new. Your soulmate understands this now more than ever. They no longer try to be strong in silence. They show up honestly. They allow themselves to be seen, not as perfect, but as real. And this honesty is what allows love to deepen without fear. Together, you are learning a new rhythm. A rhythm built on transparency. A rhythm built on discernment. A rhythm built on mutual respect and spiritual awareness. This experience has sharpened your intuition. You no longer ignore discomfort just to keep peace. You no longer explain away red flags just to feel close. You have learned that peace built on denial is fragile, but peace built on truth is unshakable. My child, this lesson will serve you for the rest of your life. It will protect your heart. It will protect your choices. It will protect the future you are stepping into. And there is more ahead for you than what was taken away. New opportunities will come with clearer intention. New relationships will arrive with cleaner energy. New seasons will open without hidden resistance. As for your soulmate, their role in your life is not finished. What they did not separate you. It refined you both. If you continue to walk together in honesty, patience, and humility, your bond can become a source of strength not just for you, but for others who will one day learn from your story. You will look back at this chapter someday, not with pain, but with gratitude. Gratitude that the truth came when it did. Gratitude that courage showed up when it was needed. Gratitude that love did not run from responsibility. And you will say quietly within yourself, "This could have destroyed me, but instead it awakened me." That is how I work, my beloved child. I do not promise a life without shock. I promise a life where shock does not have the final word. I do not promise comfort at every step. I promise alignment that leads to peace. What you thought was an ending was actually a protection. What you thought was a betrayal was actually a shield. What you thought was loss was actually redirection. Walk forward now with confidence. Do not look back with fear. The truth has cleared your path, and love, real love, walks beside you. I bless your heart with healing. I bless your mind with clarity. I bless your future with relationships that honor truth. Nothing meant for you has been taken away. Only what could not walk with you into your destiny has been removed. And I am with you always. And now, as we come to the very end of this sacred message, I want you to sit quietly with yourself for just one final moment. Not to analyze, not to overthink, but simply to breathe and let everything you have heard settle deep into your heart. You have learned that your soulmate stood in the gap for you. You have learned that the truth had to surface for your protection. You have learned that the pain was not punishment, but purification. And now, standing on the other side of this revelation, you are not meant to be afraid. You are meant to be free. The truth has cleared your path. The hidden has been exposed, and what remains is clean ground for your future. So go forward, my child, not in fear but in faith, not in doubt but in certainty, not in hiding but in full, radiant confidence. You are protected, you are favored, you are chosen, and I am with you always. The waiting is not empty, the love is not fading, and the best part of your story is still ahead. Go in peace. You are never alone. And now, my child, let us walk a little further together into the light that follows the revelation. Not because the message was incomplete, but because your heart may need to see the full picture of what comes after the truth has settled and the healing has begun. You have learned that your soulmate stood in the gap for you. You have learned that the truth had to surface for your protection. You have learned that the pain was not punishment, but purification. But now, let me tell you about the days ahead, when the dust settles and life begins to feel steady again. In the days that follow, you will notice that your heart feels different. Not heavy, not guarded, but peaceful. The questions that once kept you awake will lose their urgency. The memories that once stung will lose their power. This is not because you have forgotten, but because you have integrated. The truth has become part of your story, not your identity. You are not what happened to you. You are how you rose from it, and you are rising, my child. Slowly, gently, but surely. Your soulmate will also continue to heal. They carried a weight that was never meant to be theirs alone, and now that weight is lifting. You may notice them becoming lighter in spirit, more present, more able to laugh without reservation. This is the fruit of truth finally being released. Do not take these changes for granted. Acknowledge them, appreciate them. Let them know that you see the effort they have made and continue to make. Encouragement is a powerful force. It strengthens what is already growing. There may still be moments of doubt. Old patterns may try to resurface. When that happens, do not panic. Do not assume the worst. Simply remind yourself that healing is not linear. One step back does not erase the progress that has been made. Extend grace to them and to yourself. This is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of a more honest one. As you move forward together, you will discover new things about each other. Not just the painful parts, but the beautiful ones too. The laughter that was once rare will become more frequent. The silences that once felt heavy will feel safe. The connection that was tested in the fire will be strengthened in the calm. This is what happens when love is rooted in truth. It grows. It deepens. It becomes something that can withstand the storms that are sure to come. And remember, my child, that the truth was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to free you. The exposure was not meant to shame you. It was meant to protect you. The one who stood firm was not your enemy. They were your shield. Let that understanding settle deep into your heart. You are not alone in this. You have never been alone, and the love that has been tested is now stronger than ever. So go forward. My child, not cautiously but confidently, not fearfully but faithfully. The truth has been spoken. The healing has begun. The love that has been tested is now ready to be lived, and the best part of your story is still ahead. Go in peace. You are never alone. And now, my child, let us walk together one final time into the quiet that follows the storm. Not because the message was incomplete, but because your soul needs to feel the full weight of peace before you step into the new chapter that awaits you. You have walked through revelation, through tears, through the painful beauty of honesty. You have seen the truth emerge from the shadows. You have witnessed the courage of the one who loves you standing firm when it would have been easier to look away. You have felt the shock, the grief, the confusion, and slowly the healing. And now you stand on the other side of it all, not broken but whole, not lost but found, not alone but held. In the days and weeks ahead, you will notice that the world looks different. Not because anything external has changed, but because you have changed. The fog that once clouded your vision has lifted. The questions that once kept you awake have found their answers. The weight that once pressed on your chest has been lifted, not all at once, but gently, day by day. You will begin to trust yourself in ways you never have before. You will listen to your intuition without second-guessing. You will recognize peace when it enters the room and chaos when it tries to follow. Your soulmate, too, will feel this shift. They will sense that you are no longer the same person who entered the waiting season. Your energy will be different, calmer, steadier, more grounded. And that change will draw you closer, not because you need each other to survive, but because you recognize the safety that exists between you. There may be moments when old memories surface. A song, a scent, a place that reminds you of what was. When that happens, do not run from it. Do not let it pull you back into the past. Simply acknowledge it, feel it, and let it pass. You are not the person you were when those memories were made. You are someone new, someone stronger, someone who has learned that love does not require suffering to be real. The memories will lose their power over time. They will become like photographs in an album, reminders of where you have been, not anchors to where you are going. In this new season, you will find yourself drawn to stillness, to silence, to moments alone where you can simply breathe and be. Do not mistake this for loneliness. It is not. It is the soul settling into its new shape, learning to enjoy its own company, learning that you are enough, not because someone chose you, but because you were created with purpose and love. This stillness is where I speak to you most clearly, not in loud voices or dramatic signs, but in the quiet assurance that you are never alone. You will also find that your boundaries become clearer. You will no longer tolerate what once drained you. You will no longer explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You will no longer beg for what should be freely given. And this is not coldness. This is wisdom. This is the fruit of everything you have endured. This is the strength that comes from knowing your worth. If your soulmate continues to walk beside you, you will notice changes in them too. Not immediately, perhaps, but over time. They will become more transparent, more accountable, more aware of the weight of their actions. They will learn that love is not about hiding, but about honesty. Not about control, but about trust. And if they do the work, your relationship can be rebuilt on a foundation stronger than before. Not because the past is erased, but because it has been faced and healed. If for any reason the path leads in a different direction, you will feel the distance grow naturally. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with a quiet acceptance. You will know that you have done your part, loved honestly, trusted fully, and emerged whole. And you will walk away not as a victim, but as someone who chose themselves when staying would have meant settling for less than truth. But I tell you now, with gentleness and certainty, that this connection holds weight because it holds truth. And truth has a way of finding its place even after fear has had its say. What is meant for you will not require you to betray yourself to keep it. And then, my child, there will come a day when you realize you have not thought about the pain for hours, then days, then weeks. And when that happens, you will smile, not because you have forgotten, but because you have healed. The scars will remain, but they will no longer hurt. They will simply be reminders of how far you have come, of the fire you walked through and the strength you found on the other side. I am proud of you, not because you are perfect, but because you kept going when giving up seemed easier. Because you chose truth over comfort. Because you faced the pain instead of numbing it. Because you let yourself feel, and in feeling, you found freedom. This is your new beginning. Not the beginning of a story without challenges, but the beginning of a story where you face those challenges with clarity, with self-respect, and with me by your side. So walk forward, my child, not cautiously but confidently, not fearfully but faithfully. The truth has set you free, and from this freedom you will build a life that is honest, peaceful, and real, not perfect but yours, and that is more than enough. The love that has been tested is now ready to be lived. The heart that was once heavy is now light. The path that was once unclear is now illuminated. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not too much or not enough. You are exactly where you need to be, and you are becoming exactly who you are meant to become. Trust the process, trust the timing, trust yourself, and know that you are deeply, eternally loved, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Go in peace, my child. The heaviness will lift, the light will return, and you will be okay. You will be more than okay. You will be free.